Now on the Locked On Celtics podcast, the Celtics keep on winning games they should probably be losing, and this time it's all about Hugo Gonzalez.
Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics, and I talk about them Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts when they play on weekends. They got a Friday game coming up, whatever it is. I'll give you a bonus podcast. I'll give you a bonus podcast sometimes during the week. So you got to be subscribed to make sure you get all of the content that I'm dropping. And you can watch the show on YouTube, get into the comment section there, share your thoughts with me there as well. If you're new, let me introduce myself. I'm John Karalis, a beat writer covering the Celtics for Sports Illustrated's Celtics on SI. I've also been doing this. I've been doing a job, like the version of this job, for about 20 years, this podcast for 10. I've got a couple of books out on the team. Today, look, the Celtics, no Jaylen Brown, no Neemias Queta, obviously still no Jayson Tatum. Giannis came back, and I thought, this one might get a little rough. Nope, Celtics just dominated. By the end, it was a real, like the fourth quarter was just where they pulled away. But they keep on winning these games that they should be losing. We'll get into individual performances later on. We'll get into Payton Pritchard and the great energy and defense. But, I have to start with Hugo Gonzalez, who, if you're a longtime listener, if you're an everydayer, if you're with me every Monday through Friday, you know that I am the world's number one owner of Hugo Gonzalez stock. I have it all. I've had it all for a while. I've been on board with this kid from the beginning, and I've thought that he's going to be a star in this league. I don't know to what degree. Probably not a number one option, but also probably a number 3, a number 2, maybe. We'll see. We'll see what time brings us. But right now, after a recent kind of online, I'll call it a skirmish. And I don't want to bring online Twitter, social media stuff into this podcast very much because a lot of you probably don't even exist in that space. Some of you do, but some of you don't. And some of you have gotten off of Twitter altogether and you exist in other spots. I don't want to turn it into, that place dominating the conversation. But I did have a recent thing where I tried to explain why I think Hugo Gonzalez has such a high ceiling and a high floor, and it just became a whole big thing. So for this to happen is a very nice kind of, I'll call it a validation for me. 18.6 rebounds. Let me read the stats here, courtesy of Dick Leip at NBC Sports Boston. Second rookie in Boston Celtics history to get 18 points, 16 rebounds, 3 steals, and 2 blocks in a game. You want to guess the other one? Want to take a second? Have you heard the stat yet? 18 points, 16 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. One other rookie did it, and it was Larry Bird back in 1979. So always good company to have something that only you and Larry Bird have done. It's just the 4th time since the turn of the century that a rookie has had that stat line. The others, Emeka Okafor, Kyle Filipowski, Isaiah Stewart. So Hugo did something that very few people have done. And the energy, the rebounding, the scoring, at this point, the scoring is he's not creating a ton for himself, although he has some really crafty finishes. He is extraordinarily good at driving with his left hand and then going back around to his right, or driving to his right hand and finishing with his left. He finishes equally well around the rim with either hand. That's a major thing. And when I talk about why am I so high on Hugo Gonzalez? Why am I sitting here? And I don't want to be dramatic and say staking my reputation on it, but look, I am saying it strongly. I am saying it with my chest. Hugo Gonzalez is going to be part of the core of the next generation of Celtics contenders. After Jaylen and Jayson move on or are past their primes, Hugo will be the guy who takes that next version of the Celtics to wherever, however far they go. And I think he'll be part of a winning franchise. Now he's 20 years old, just turned 20. And so obviously Jaylen is, going to be 30 next year and Jayson's going to be 28. So there's going to be some overlap, right? Jaylen, they're not, it's not like they're ancient, right? So the next 2-3 years, they'll still be really, really good. And Hugo will be in there being really, really good. At 23, 24, he'll be very, very good. But he still won't be in his prime. And at that point, when Hugo is 27 and 28, we're to 8 years from now, we're talking about, Jaylen will be 38 years old. Like that, his career will be either over or close to being over. Jayson Tatum's career will be either over or close to being over, right? When you get past 36, you're close to being over. You only have a few years left at the most. Tatum probably has a longer, more productive back end of his career just because of his size and length. I think he can adjust his game maybe a little bit more, but who knows? Jaylen could Jaylen has surprised me before, so I can make that statement and people could be like, hey, you've doubted Jaylen before. I'm just saying that he's probably, and he has said that he probably doesn't want to play past like 35 anyway. So, but who knows what happens when he gets there. That's besides the point. My point is that Hugo Gonzalez is going to be he's going to be that good. He's going to be, like I've said before, I think he's going to be at least what Derrick White is. I think when it's all said and done, Hugo Gonzalez will be Derrick White in terms of impact, like not the same kind of player, but he will score, he will pass, he will defend, he will do all of those things. It's a little bit different stylistically, but he will be at least that as good as Derrick White is today. And I don't say that lightly. I think Derrick White is an amazing basketball player. He is incredible. He is super smart. He's great. He shoots well. Even though, forget this season, he shoots the ball well. He shot well in this game. He defends. Derrick defending that inbounds that got stolen, and then he just kind of snuck in from behind and tapped the ball away. And I think got an assist on that play. Like I hold Derrick White in the absolute highest regard when it comes to basketball. So when I say Hugo Gonzalez is going to be Derrick White, trust me, I do not say that lightly, but his instincts, what you saw in this game, defensively, the instincts, the block shots, the steals, and beyond that, watch how he defends. Watch closely how many times he just stops a guy from getting where he wants to go, and the ball gets worked back out to the perimeter, and there's no stat for that. Not publicly anyway. Maybe the teams track their own stats in a certain way, but there's nothing publicly that can track that. He is an incredible defender. The effort he plays with, incredible effort, playoff level effort. The want to is off the charts. His mind is just, I love the way it works from what I even know already. And I'm only just getting to know how it works. But he had a play where he had an open shot. I think he took the rhythm dribble and he missed. And then the next play he got an and one. And like, he was just shaking his head like, oh God, I can't believe, like he was still pissed off that he missed the shot from before. He just made another great play, great finish, hit the shot and got the foul. And he's like, I still missed that other shot. His mind is where it needs to be. His work ethic is where it needs to be. And naturally the gifts that he has. I'm just like, oh man, this kid is special. The way he moves, the types of plays, you go back to the last game where he's streaking up the right side and he makes just this cut like he's running, a route, and Jaylen throws it to the front of the rim and he just goes and gets it in reverse layup. That's just instinct and body control and athleticism. And then in this one, a block shot coming down the right side, and Derrick just hits that like overhead bounce pass, which is such a nice pass to throw in that traffic. That has been I cannot express just the natural ability that it takes to do that at his age and be comfortable making the plays that he makes. So I don't care if it was against Milwaukee and shorthanded or whatever. I thought he played really well. He struggled against Giannis. Good. I want him to struggle against Giannis. He should struggle against Giannis. He struggled with his shot a little bit. Good. That's fine. I want him to have a lot to work on. I'm not saying that Ugo is going to be that good tomorrow or next season or even maybe the season after that because he's still young. But I'm telling you, when it comes time to sign him to a new deal and extension, Celtics need to be like on top of it. The instant he's ready to be extended, you sign him for whatever you can, lock him up for as long as you can, because he should be here for a long time. I love this kid. So, Ugo was awesome. The 18 points, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. Whew, okay. I'm done gushing about Ugo. The Celtics played with great energy. They played great defense. Overall, 5th game in 7 nights, and they look like that? Huh. We'll talk about that when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by Indeed. We know how chaotic the workplace can be. We know how deadlines are. They stack up. They sneak up on you, especially with that overflowing inbox. And you have one position that you have to fill, even with all of that other stuff going on. What do? You just hope that somebody's going to come around and be there for you and show up in the magic resume pile? No, you need Indeed sponsored jobs. That's going to help you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for. Skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. In the minute that I'm talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires around the world on Indeed, according to Indeed data. If you're hiring, you need Indeed sponsored jobs because you'll spend less time searching. You'll spend more time actually interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes. If you're building a basketball team, do you just open the door and hope that people come in that know how to play your system? Or do you go out and scout and find people who check all the boxes? Indeed sponsored jobs is your scout. You can get a $75 sponsored job credit by going to Indeed.com/podcast. Get your job the premium status it deserves. Indeed.com/podcast. Let them know that we sent you over there. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. You're an everydayer. I appreciate you Monday through Friday being with me, plus these bonus podcasts. Why not join the Everydayer Club? For $50 a year, or if you want to pay $5 a month, you get ad-free audio. So you don't know what I just said for the last minute plus. You can just listen to the ad-free audio. It's compatible with all the major podcast apps. You can get onto our Everydayer Club Discord server, which is a group chat for Celtics fans, NBA fans, everybody, and a whole lot more. You got to go to lockedonceltics.supercast.com, lockedonceltics.supercast.com. So the other impressive thing, aside from me just like, rubbing my hands together like an evil genius going, as I get all the Ugo stock and get ready to cash that in. The other thing that was really impressive to me in this game was the energy, the effort. The Celtics are playing on this fifth game in 7 nights. Like, come on, 5th game in 7 nights. And they went out there and played hard. They played with incredible energy. I think the Celtics are strategic in their sitting of Jaylen Brown and sitting of Neemias Queta. I think they see these opportunities to get Jaylen some rest because he needs it. He's dealing with, the lingering hamstring, but also a knee issue and a wrist issue and all of that stuff. So you get him some rest, but also you sit him down, you sit Neemi down. You force the rest of the guys to be like, oh God, we can't rest. We can't give in to the fatigue. We just got to go out there and play. And you give guys who don't normally play 35 minutes, like Hugo Gonzalez, you give him the 35 minutes. I've been begging for him to play 35 minutes, and he's done that a couple times. He played 36 against Toronto. And so this is the second most he's played this season. But you give Luka Garza 20 minutes off the bench. You give more opportunity to these guys who haven't gotten the opportunities recently. Garza was great, just relentless, 7 offensive rebounds. This is the Luka Garza that we thought that we've seen. And the one that I thought the Celtics should have played against the Denver Nuggets at the end of that road trip, where they were kind of, finally giving into like tired legs and, the altitude and all that stuff. Garza is there. Like, I hope if there's one thing to take away from this game, it's that Garza can sit for 3, 4, 5 weeks, whatever it's been, and still come in and find a way to be very, very effective. The 7 offensive rebounds were huge. The Celtics had 19 offensive rebounds. The energy to go out there and get them was just off the charts. Now, Luka had 7. Hugo had 5. So that's 12 offensive rebounds from 2 guys. That is, those guys set the tone. And you had Baylor Shireman, all of those guys just stepping up and giving you the energy, the defense. It was incredible to watch. The Celtics defense gave up 20, 23, 22, and 16 points in the the 4 quarters. 20, 23, 22, and 16. I mean, they obviously only gave up 81 points. So the Bucks, didn't shoot great, but the Celtics really were energetic. They were physical. Giannis was the only guy that was really, really hurting them. They got something from Ousmane Deng, but he only was 5 of 10. But he was the only other guy that made any noise. Well, Bobby Portis had 12 points, but that's it. Portis was a minus 21. So I'm just impressed. Like, the Celtics don't give in to the excuses, and that's a credit. That's a credit to Joe Mazzulla. It's a credit to all of the staff. It's a credit to Brad Stevens. This has been a thing for a while. They just don't take that ready-made. All right, so 5th game in 7 nights. Chalk it up, buddy. Schedule lost. You had the Philly game, which was originally scheduled for 6. So the extra 2 hours, 2.5 really with the NBC schedule. That's the difference between getting to bed at 2 versus getting to bed at 4:30. That's a big difference. That's a huge difference. And the Celtics get in super late. You get in at 4 a.m. You got to turn around and play a game locally at 6:30 p.m. There's every excuse right there. It's just laid out for you. played a tough game. You only pulled away from Philadelphia late, but they don't give in to that. Joe Mazzulla has them ready. He has them ready. That's these guys, and Brad puts together a team of hard workers, prove it guys, and Joe has them all working together on the same page. They don't give in to wanting to make their money, or they're all under contract for next year, so that does help. No one's kind of going out showing out for a new deal right now, but there's always that thing in the back of their heads. But Joe has them on the same page. They all come in and they play for each other. I mean, yeah, this is 21 minutes so far of like gushing about the Celtics. But look, man, they're. What else am I going to do? How am I going to criticize this team? And here's, I'll save this. I'll get into individual performances. The Celtics are now also, I'll get to this when I come back. They're 41-20. I understand the 40-20 rule, but can we finesse this a little bit for the Celtics? I'll talk about that when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Therapy is an important part of my life because I've had times in my life where things were not easy. I had to learn more about myself. I had to grow as a person. I had to understand why I was making certain choices in my life. Therapy was very helpful to me. BetterHelp can help you get the therapy that might be helpful to you as well, or a friend of yours. The thing about BetterHelp that's really helpful is there's two things. Number one, it's all online. So you don't have to just be a prisoner of who is a therapist in your area. You can go to one of 30,000 licensed therapists that have served more than 6 million people worldwide. It's the world's largest online therapy platform, and it works. You just fill out a short questionnaire and you get matched with a licensed therapist. So right away, a lot of the legwork is done for you. And the best part is if that fit isn't there, you just switch at any time, no extra cost, you just switch. So you have an opportunity to work on your emotional well-being. Talk through whatever it is, stress at home, stress at work, stress from, maybe it's your sports teams. Maybe it's something simple. Maybe you just want to talk through some things there. It can be anything that is weighing you down. Find support and feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/lockedonnba. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. College basketball is nonstop, big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever you want. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. And then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump the potential payout. Go safe or go bold. Ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com right now to get started. That's FanDuel.com. When you sign up, they will ask you to set a limit, set your budget. Please do so. Whatever your disposable income is, whatever you can afford to lose, you can do that. Set that as your budget so you're gambling responsibly at FanDuel. Play your game. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. You want to make maybe Locked On Bucks your second listen? Listen to what the Milwaukee side of the story is, or Locked On NBA Game Night, 7 nights a week covering the entire league. I'll be there covering tomorrow night's games with Jake Madison. So you can join me as we cover the entire league there. It's a great way to keep up with everything. You were watching the Celtics game night. We'll get you all caught up tomorrow on everything else that happened. So before I get into some of these individual performances, the Celtics are currently 41-20. They've won 3 in a row. So they lost their 20th game before they won their 40th. And there's that 40-20 rule where Phil Jackson said contenders win 40 games before they lose 20, which is okay, sure, true. History has borne that out. There are, I think, 5 exceptions since 1980. But the Celtics are in this weird position. They were 38-20, and then they've won games 39, 40, and 41. And I just want to know what the difference is between 41-20, having won your 40th before you lose. What's the difference between that and what the Celtics did, right? Like, if the Celtics got to 40-19 and then went 1-2 in their next 2 games to get to 41-20, why does that make them more of a contender than getting to 38-20 and then going on a 3-game winning streak? It doesn't make sense to me. But I know the rule, and the rule has been followed. Now, I'll be honest with you. The other 5, I didn't check to see how close the 40, like, if you didn't get to 40 before 20, were they in the same boat as the Celtics? There are exceptions, and the Celtics do fit one of those exceptions. They're going to get Tatum back, and the Houston Rockets, when they traded for Clyde Drexler, were an exception. But I don't know, man. 41-20. I just have a hard time. If we're looking at contenders, I have a hard time believing that the Celtics are not a contender at 41-20 because they lost their 20th game before they got to 40. That doesn't make any sense to me. Every other metric says that they're right there. So I don't know. I'd love to hear your opinion, because I think this could be a unique part of the exceptions. Okay. Anyway, another side note. This could be locked on side notes. I take these little paths all over the place and I get back to my point. And my point here for the rest of this is Payton Pritchard, Derrick White, they also had good games. Payton Pritchard he led the team in scoring, 25 points, 10 of 23 shooting, 5 of 10 from 3, also had 9 assists. Great to see Payton back in the scoring. He's had a couple of tough games. He was scoreless against Philly. And, Joe Mazzulla after this game was like, look, he's not defined by his scoring. We need him to do other things. He's done other things. He's defended. He's rebounded. So don't look at it as he didn't score much, so he's not playing well. That's not true. You can play well and still not score much. But his job is also to be a scorer. So it's nice to see Payton get back to the scoring. I was never worried about him not scoring much or whatever. He's adjusting to the changes with Vucevic here and all of that stuff. And he sometimes, he's not a perfect player, and sometimes you just have a couple of bad games. Honestly, you just have a couple of bad games. Everybody who's played extended amounts of organized basketball understands you have a couple of bad games here and there. So Payton's fine. It was a nice game for him. Nice to see him get those 25 points. Derrick White shot poorly, but was really good otherwise. Defensively, like I said before, was fantastic. That one steal, was one steal, but whew, that steal was nice. He's just such an elite defender, but he's also in total control. Like Joe Mazzulla talked about how at the end of the third quarter, when Milwaukee was making a run, you put Derrick White back in and he kind of controls things and settles things down. He had 9 assists as well, 18 points, 9 assists, even though he shot 28% from the field. Not a great shooting night, but a good basketball night for him. Nikola Vucevic got the start, 10 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Didn't shoot well, but you see how you can run the offense through him. So a nice game, 5 offensive rebounds. Now you see how the Celtics got to 19. 7 for Luka. 5. I'm sorry, he didn't have 5. I was looking at Hugo. He had 5. But Jordan Walsh had 3. So there you go. There's your 15. And then you get a couple of stragglers. Payton had a couple. Sam had 1. Baylor had 1. So there's your 19. But I thought Vooch did a decent job. He 10 points, let's say 10, 5, and 7, a plus 25, even though he didn't shoot well. He made some really nice passes. And so a decent game from him. Baylor Shireman with the broken thumb, 10.6 rebounds, high energy, getting in there, defending, doing all those things. Sam Hauser played well, I think, 4 of 8 from the field. He, rebounds, a steal, a block, he defends, he does a lot of different things. My favorite Hauser play, it's probably your favorite too, the 3-pointer that he missed at the end of the first quarter, but he followed his shot and got the rebound and hit a little fadeaway. I love that play because shooters know exactly once you let the ball go, you're like, oh, short and to the left. He knew it right away. Just a little short, just a little left. As soon as he landed, you could see him already going to where he knew where the ball was going to go. That's why he got the offensive rebound and got that putback. He just right away off the tip. These guys are such finely tuned machines that right away he lets it go and he's like, nope, that's not going in. That's going over there. I'm going to go get that ball. Nice minutes from Ron Harper. No one was bad in this game. Ron Harper comes in, makes some nice plays. Jordan Walsh didn't do much scoring, but 7 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds, a plus 8 in 16 minutes. Just a nice performance from the Celtics. I am just loving the Hugo minutes though. So any chance I get to do a little bit of a victory lap on Hugo, I'm going to do it. He's a talented kid. They were talking about it on the NBC Sports Boston. I think it was the post-game show. And we've mentioned this on the podcast before too. Brad Stevens, because he was at Butler and didn't get all the prime recruits, like Jayson Tatum wasn't going to Butler, but he had to go find the other guys. He has an eye for talent that is kind of unrealized, right? The guys that are good, but the prime, like when he's at Butler, you get Duke, you got North Carolina, you got all these other schools that are going to get the number one guys, and you got to fight to put a good team together. It's a very similar concept. You're going to say, well, how does that apply to the Boston Celtics? Well, when you're picking in the 25th through 30, you're at the bottom of the draft. You don't get the top, the primo recruits. You don't get the top guys. At the bottom of that draft, there's a little window there where from 25 to like 31, 32 now, with the way the system is set up, that's if you can hit in that spot, you're good. You're really good. And Brad has hit in that spot. You got Hugo, you got Baylor, who I think has shown enough. Like, Baylor can stick around. Baylor can be a good player. I don't think Baylor is a future star, but I think Baylor can be a good player. He can be a guy that you lean on for 25 minutes a game, and he's going to do some things. Maybe the shooting comes around and levels off and becomes more consistent and all of that stuff. But he's a guy you can count on. I think he's going to be a role player, part of the rotation, one of your top 7 or 8. But Ugo, that's a hit, man. That is a hit and a half. So Brad just finding these diamonds in the rough down there. All right, that's the show. I'll be back tomorrow. Bonus content throughout the week and on weekends when the Celtics play. Whenever they play, I'll have a post-game podcast, so make sure you're subscribed. You can watch the show on YouTube as always. And look, sharing the podcast is the best thing you can do. Spread the word. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.